I used to think we were solid. Not perfect, but solid. 17 years married. 2 kids. A mortgage, a shared Spotify account, arguments over who left the lights on, the usual. Lena and I had built a life together. It wasn't flashy, but it was ours. I met her in college. She spilled a latte on my notes the first time we spoke. She laughed, full and loud, and offered to buy me lunch. I told her not to worry about it. She insisted. We had sandwiches in the student union and talked until our next classes started. I remember thinking even then, she feels like home. Fast forward almost 2 decades and we have Daniel, 15, smart but secretive, and Ellie, 12, with a sharp tongue and a softer heart than she lets on. We moved to the suburbs, got jobs, paid bills, hosted birthdays and barbecues. Life had a rhythm. A quiet one. And then, without warning, the rhythm faltered. It started subtly. Lena came home later than usual. Meetings ran long, she said. Traffic was insane. Sure. I nodded, believing her, or at least pretending to. But things didn't sit right. The way she avoided eye contact when she talked. The way she put her phone on silent and face down on the counter. She used to leave it anywhere, unlocked, forgotten. Not anymore. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe she was tired. Maybe I was overthinking it. I'm not the jealous type, never have been. But once doubt slips in, it sticks like a stone in your shoe. Then there was the perfume. It wasn't hers. I know how Lena smells. I've buried my face in her hair enough times to recognize the scent of her shampoo in a crowd. This wasn't it. It was stronger, sexier, something new. I asked casually if she changed fragrances. She blinked, thought for a second, then said, "No, same as always." Lie. That night I laid awake beside her, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe. Something inside me tightened. I felt stupid, suspicious, and still, unable to shake it. Then came the message. It was a Thursday night. The kids were upstairs, headphones in, probably watching TikToks or gaming. Lena was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, face up for once. I wasn't snooping. I swear to God, I wasn't. But the message flashed and I saw it. Last night was unforgettable. I can still feel you. When can I see you again? I stared at the words. My body didn't react the way I thought it would, no heat, no panic. Just a strange hollowness, like my insides had been scooped out and replaced with cold air. My fingers itched to open the phone, to scroll, to know. But I didn't touch it. She came down 10 minutes later, towel in her hair, humming. I handed her the phone. She looked at me, expression unreadable, and just said, "Thanks." Then she walked off. I watched her go and didn't follow. That night, I moved to the guest room. Told her my back was acting up. She didn't question it. That silence, that indifference, was almost worse than the message. I didn't sleep. I lay there, listening to the wind outside and wondering what the hell had happened to my life. We had a good thing. Or so I thought. But now I wasn't sure what we had, or who she really was. The next morning, after dropping off Ellie at school, I made a new email. A new cloud account. Burner Tools. I work in cybersecurity. I know how to track digital footprints. If she was hiding something, and she was, I was going to find it. Not because I wanted revenge. But because I needed to see the truth with my own eyes. There's a point in every man's life, I think, where he realizes the world he built can burn down in silence. I started my search the way I'd start a penetration test at work, quietly, methodically, and with the patience of someone who already knew there were vulnerabilities. I just needed to find them. I wasn't sure how deep Lena's betrayal ran, but I knew it wasn't just one message. You don't laugh at someone else's text like that, sneak around, and carry new perfume in your purse unless there's a whole second life being lived. I cloned her phone. Not all of it, just enough. I used backup software on our shared laptop when she left it unlocked one morning. She'd grown sloppy, confident. A couple of folders mirrored to a hidden drive I set up. I wasn't proud of it, but if I was going to hurt, I needed the truth to justify the pain. And there it was. Not all at once, but like drops of acid, slowly burning through what remained of my belief in her. Photos. Messages. Voicemails. A few shaky videos. A hotel receipt forwarded to her personal email with the subject line, "Last-minute getaway." She called him D. No last name. Sometimes just emojis. But it wasn't just sex, it was jokes, little love notes, secrets. They had memories together. That was the worst part. I stared at a picture she took of him asleep on her chest. She captioned it, "He's safest here." That's what she used to say about Daniel when he was a baby, when he'd fall asleep in her arms. My chest tightened. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stopped. Like a car running out of gas in the middle of nowhere. For 3 days I said nothing. I watched her. Played my part. We even had dinner with my parents one evening. Lena smiled. She touched my arm when she laughed. She was good at pretending. So I got better at pretending too. I started building the file, the dirt, if you want to call it that. I documented everything. I printed screenshots. Made backups on encrypted USBs. Compiled a timeline, receipts, messages, maps of their locations. The works. And still, I hoped there was some explanation. Something insane. A one-time lapse. A psychotic break. Anything. Until I saw them with my own eyes. That Friday night, she told me she was having a team dinner after work. I said, "Have fun," and kissed her on the cheek. I followed her. I parked across from the little restaurant in the city, a dim, trendy place with a neon sign that said, "Eat what you love." I watched her meet him outside, his hand already on her lower back before they even entered. They shared a drink. Then another. She laughed, that same laugh she used to reserve for me. It wasn't work talk. It was something else. I knew where this was going. They didn't even wait to finish dessert. I tailed them to a hotel. Cheap. Quiet. Hidden just off the freeway. I waited 20 minutes, staring at the glowing vacancy sign like it had something to say. Then I got out of the car. I don't know what came over me. I wasn't thinking straight. Maybe I wanted to catch them, maybe I wanted a confession, or maybe I just wanted to see how far I'd fallen. But I walked straight through the lobby like I belonged there, up the stairs, and listened at doors until I heard her voice. Laughing. Breathy. And then, moaning. I knocked once. No answer. I knocked again, louder. Then I kicked the door. It flew open, and there they were, half-dressed, startled like teenagers caught sneaking around in the dark. She screamed. He jumped up. I didn't think. I hit him. And then I hit him again. I don't remember how many times. Just the sound of bone on bone, the feel of knuckles tearing, his blood on my shirt, her screaming for me to stop. I don't even remember what I said. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. When he stopped moving, I froze. I called the police. I called an ambulance. I sat on the floor, shaking, watching Lena wrap herself in a sheet and sob in the corner. Not for me. Not for our family. For him. For him. The police came. I didn't resist. I told them exactly what happened. I handed over the drive with everything I'd found. They cuffed me but didn't charge me right away. The medic said he'd live. Barely. Broken jaw, fractured ribs, concussion. Lena tried to talk to me in the hallway, but I looked through her like she didn't exist. I felt clean. For the first time in weeks, I felt clean. The story spread like gasoline fire. By Monday, everyone knew. Not just about the fight, that was in the police report, clean and clinical, but everything else. The infidelity. The hotel. The file I'd put together. It made its way into the hands of my cousin Mark, who'd always been a little too curious. And Mark, in turn, shared it, selectively at first. Then not so selectively. By Wednesday, Lena's sisters had called me, one crying, one furious. Her mother showed up at my house, unannounced, saying, "There must be a mistake. She wouldn't do this." I showed her a single photo, just one. She left without another word. The kids found out last. Daniel first. He's smart. He picked up on the tension, the sudden absence of routine, the whispers. He asked me straight up. "Did Mom cheat on you?" I didn't lie. I didn't go into detail, but I didn't sugarcoat it. He listened. His jaw clenched. Then he disappeared into his room. I heard him yelling that night. Not at me. At her. Over the phone. I caught only fragments. "You lied. You're a whore. I hope he never wakes up." I stormed in. I don't care how hurt he was, I would not let him talk to his mother that way. I yanked the phone from his hand. "Don't you ever speak to her like that again. I don't care what she did." He stared at me, eyes full of betrayal. "Why are you defending her?" I didn't have an answer. I wasn't. I just didn't want him growing up thinking rage made him a man. Ellie took longer to understand. She just cried. Not because she understood everything, but because she felt the break in the air. The silence. The meals eaten apart. She slept in my bed for a week. Lena called once, but Ellie didn't want to talk to her. She stopped wearing the necklace Lena had given her for her birthday. Lena begged to come see them. I didn't stop her, but I didn't help her either. She came by with flowers and gifts, and left an hour later looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Neither kid hugged her goodbye. That night, she texted me. "I know I don't deserve to ask, but can we talk? Just the two of us." I stared at that message for 10 minutes before responding. There's nothing left to say. But of course, there was. Because I was still waking up in cold sweats. Still hearing her laugh when I closed my eyes. Still smelling that other man's cologne in the hallway sometimes, a trick of the mind. I'd replayed the fight over and over. How I lost control. How I saw red and felt the bones break under my fists. I started going to the gym at 6 a.m. Every day. Harder than before. Longer. I dropped 10 pounds. Put on lean muscle. Stopped drinking. Stopped sleeping, mostly. At work, I was a machine. My supervisor pulled me aside and asked if everything was alright, told me I'd closed 2 months' worth of cases in 2 weeks. I said I was fine. I wasn't. But I was getting better. And Lena wasn't. She tried to reach me in all the ways she knew how. A letter slipped under the door. A voicemail, voice trembling, apologizing, begging. I don't even know why I did it. I was lonely, I felt invisible. I don't expect you to forgive me, but please don't shut me out forever. Please. We were us. That's the part that stung. Because I still remembered who we used to be. And I hated that I still missed her sometimes, like muscle memory, like reaching for a phantom limb. One day, I came home to find her sitting on the front steps. She stood up fast, like she didn't expect me to show. Her eyes were red. She looked thinner. Tired. "Can we talk inside?" I didn't say yes, but I opened the door. We sat at the kitchen table. The same table where we'd once planned vacations, scolded the kids for swearing, laughed over wine on Friday nights. It felt like a grave. She started to speak, but I cut her off. "I know everything, Lena. All of it. There's nothing you can say that changes what you did." She nodded. Looked down at her hands. "I loved him. Or I thought I did. It was never supposed to be serious. And then it was. And I kept telling myself I could fix it, or it would end on its own. But I ruined everything." I said nothing. "I still love you," she whispered. I closed my eyes. For a second, I wanted to scream. Or sob. Or reach across the table and pull her into my arms. But I didn't. Instead, I said, "You don't get to say that to me anymore." Time moved strangely after that. The divorce went through with little resistance. Lena didn't contest anything. She gave up the house. Shared custody was established, but she barely used it at first. The kids didn't make it easy. Daniel refused to visit her for months. Ellie was polite, but distant. The damage was done, and the pieces didn't fit the same way anymore. I kept myself busy. I finished renovating the kitchen. Started volunteering at the local shelter on weekends. Went back to therapy. Slowly, the nights got quieter. Not easier, just less sharp. Lena tried, in her way, to rebuild some version of herself. I heard from mutual friends she was seeing someone new, briefly. It didn't last. She took a job in a different city for a while. She emailed occasionally, updates on her life, questions about the kids. I always replied, short but respectful. She apologized again. Every time. It never got easier to read. A year after the divorce, she wrote something different. "I don't expect you to believe this, but you were always the best part of my life. I lost sight of that. I wish I could take it back. I'd do anything to go back to the beginning." I didn't reply. But I didn't delete the message either. 2 years passed. Daniel graduated high school. He made peace with his mother eventually, not forgiveness, exactly, but a kind of tired truce. He told her plainly, "I don't hate you. But I don't trust you. And I don't want you pretending like we're okay if you're not willing to earn it." That boy became a man too fast. Ellie bounced back quicker. Kids do. She still asked questions now and then, especially at night, when the world felt heavy. "Do you still love Mom?" I never lied. "I don't know," I'd say. But I loved who she was. And I love what we built. Some days, that answer was enough. Other days, it wasn't. Then I met Sophie. It wasn't a grand, romantic whirlwind. Just two people who understood that life had edges. She was kind. Patient. Smart. Funny, in that dry, careful way that makes you lean in. Divorced, with a daughter of her own. She didn't ask too much at first. She let me arrive slowly. And one day, I realized I was smiling without effort. I caught myself humming in the kitchen. I started calling her first. We married last spring, small ceremony, just the kids and a few close friends. Lena didn't come, though I invited her. She sent a card. It read, "I hope she brings you peace. I'm glad you found your way back to happiness. I'll always be sorry." I read it once, folded it, and placed it in a drawer with the old photos. Not out of anger, just to let the past stay in the past. I still think about what happened. Not every day. But sometimes. I think about how easily trust can be broken, how deeply love can scar, how hard it is to carry betrayal without letting it twist you. I still don't know if I handled everything the right way. There are nights I lie awake, remembering her face when she realized I knew. The panic. The guilt. The shame. And my own rage, like a fire I barely controlled. But then I turn over and see Sophie sleeping beside me. Our daughter curled up at the foot of the bed. The faint light from the hallway glowing warm through the door. And I breathe. Not because it didn't happen. But because I survived it. Because I became someone stronger. Someone real. And that's enough.